All right, moving on, more startups in Southeast Asia have achieved unicorn status in recent years with valuations of $1 billion or more thanks to variables such as strong private equity financing and growing middle class. According to a Credit Suisse analysis report on Southeast Asia startups, 19 startups in the region had their valuation rise to over $1 billion in 2021 alone. Since Malaysia welcomed its first homegrown unicorn in 2021 in the form of integrated car e-commerce platform Carsum, the country has potential unicorns in the making. Any which way you cut it, Malaysia has clearly done poorly by this yardstick, leading to the government in September 2021 declaring that it would target to create 5 unicorns by 2025. However, the announced target of 5 unicorns seems to not excite the startup ecosystem, mainly due to the recognition that government cannot magically conjure up startups valued at $1 billion just because it sets a target. So joining us this morning is an entrepreneur, investor and venture builder, also the co-founder and general partner of ScaleUp Malaysia, Sarma. Good morning, Aaron.
Hey, good morning, Nabila. Good to be with you today.
All right, maybe you can start with sharing how has the Malaysian government actively participated in fostering the growth of unicorns through the MyDIGITAL initiative together with efforts under Meranti.
So I think one of the things that was very exciting about MyDIGITAL was it showed that the government was interested and invested in developing the startup ecosystem. And at the time, we greeted it with open arms. And I think I wrote an op-ed at the time also giving my thoughts about it. And even then, the thinking that we had back then was the idea of creating unicorns is not something the government should do, which is something that you have rightly said as well in your introduction. It's not the role of the government to create unicorns. We don't want government-linked unicorns or anything like that. But instead, I think the better target that the government should be focusing on is on creating the other metric, which is the 5,000 startups that they wanted to create by 2025. I think in terms of creating new up-and-coming companies, one of the challenges we see in the marketplace from the standpoint of an investor is that there aren't that many up-and-coming new startups in the ecosystem. There aren't many new ventures being created. And I'm hoping the initiatives that Khazanah is doing through Antler, through Plug and Play, through the different incubators and venture builders out there will change that. But so far, we've not seen that surge of like a growth in the funnel that we were hoping to see when MyDIGITAL was announced.
How effective has the MyDIGITAL initiative been in cultivating a supportive ecosystem for startups and unicorns in Malaysia? And maybe what measures are in place to encourage collaboration and also knowledge sharing among emerging startups?
So I think it's hard to say what MyDIGITAL specifically is doing because a lot of the implementation of the MyDIGITAL blueprint has been done through existing agencies. And something that we've been saying for some time, and I'm glad to hear YB Rafizi also comment in a similar way, that there are too many agencies and too many groups within the government looking into the startup space. And what we truly need now more than ever is a single window for startups to kind of interface with these benefits and policies and grant programs and education programs so that they can grow their business versus going to like 20 different places as it is right now. That said, there have been some really positive things that have happened over the last few years as a function of supporting the MyDIGITAL initiative. Number one, there's been an increase in funding into the ecosystem. So as I mentioned earlier, people like Khazanah, Kuap, are investing into the startup and the venture capital ecosystem. There are a lot more programs now through the likes of Meranti, through MDEC, through Cradle Fund. There's also been created as well. There are a lot more private sector involvement as well, so I think that's very encouraging as well. And even corporates also getting into the space, also like investing and supporting early stage startups by either doing hackathons or they're doing accelerator programs, which we've seen a couple of those as well recently, as well as directly working with companies. So there is positive movement. The question I guess we have today is it fast enough and does it really meet the moment that we have today to grow this ecosystem? Right now, I feel we're falling a little bit short in terms of focus. And I think if there was one challenge I'd say is that we're trying to do so many things, but we're not really funneling that energy into one place to really see results because we're doing too many things and we're spread way too thin.
What about the initiatives that are being taken to address the talent gap in the tech industry and also to ensure a steady supply of skilled professionals for the growing unicorn system?
So I don't really see that much effort from the government, from the public sector in terms of creating these, to educate these, I guess, developers and coders and stuff. There is quite a bit of initiative right now in the private sector. There are a lot of groups like Forward School, 42 by Sarma Group. I can't remember the full name, but these groups are there to help create skilled developers and coders who can actually participate in the new economy. And I think the government should not necessarily try to build this themselves, but work with the private sector to educate and train skill sets within not just new graduates, but also existing startup founders and startup teams, and as well as within corporates as well, to train them to get to that place whereby we have the skilled workforce who can do multiple things within the ecosystem.
Aaron, we have about 2 minutes left. Maybe you can share on how
Okay.
MyDIGITAL contributing to the development of robust talent pool in emerging technologies such as AI, blockchain, and also cybersecurity.
So what I would say is that I don't think there's enough focus in a lot of these emerging technology trends. If one thing I would say that we should do is we should have kind of a hit list of a couple of emerging technologies that we want to be a part of, and really focus on how we can participate in those markets, right? So specifically, as you mentioned, AI is something that YB Rafizi I hear is talking a lot about as well. I think it's really important that we focus on this and we really kind of maybe help develop the AI knowledge base within the developer community and within the ecosystem at large. I don't think AI is specifically going to be something that we're going to create like an AI unicorn in Malaysia. But I think unicorns will be built out of Malaysia by using AI to kind of develop their startups and their businesses. So I think that should be the focus. But I do feel that we shouldn't try to do too many things at one time, focus on a couple of good initiatives and really make sure that we can see the success of these initiatives. If I can just go back to what I said earlier about the 5,000 startups, if I can just end on this point, right? I think we need to have a list of who are the current number of startups we have, because to this day, nobody can give me a straight answer about how many startups we have, today, how many of them are in prototype stage, how many of them are doing RM500,000 a year in revenue, how many are doing 5 million or 50 million ringgit a year in revenue. How do we know who are the guys who are truly successful? And these are the guys who will be funneled up into creating those unicorns. I think right now we should focus on creating the volume of the funnel, because I think that's going to be key to kind of ensuring that we have these success stories.
Or of course, we're hoping for a positive growth target achieved for the next upcoming years on the journey of our unicorn dream by leveraging international partnerships and collaborations as well. So that was Aaron Sarma, the co-founder and general partner of ScaleUp Malaysia. Baik, kita akan berhenti rehat seketika. Selepas ini kami akan bawakan sembang ekonomi oleh KPDN dengan topik tercapaikah gaya hidup seimbang kemampuan. Jadi kita kembali selepas ini.